Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door. Let my love open the door to your heart. That's it?
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought so.
I like it.
I can't hear you, Ash. Is your mic off?
What do you think?
Oh, jeez.
Hey, there she is.
God. Guys, welcome to Real Awkward Podcast, a podcast about things and stuff. My name's Andy.
I'm Amanda.
I'm here, I swear. I'm Ashley.
Turning on the microphone. Guys, today's episode is a street cred episode. If you are new to the podcast, Amanda, what is a street cred episode?
Okay, here's the deal. So, a street cred is an episode that we do on this podcast.
Boom.
And done.
So basically, we're going to take actor, director, whoever, and we're going to start at the filmography from the bottom, work all our way up to the top. Now we're here. Some movies we like, some movies we won't, but we're going to talk about them all.
Excellent. So commonly, guys, we do actors. This is a special one because we're getting close to that Halloweeny. That's weird.
Don't say that.
I'm sorry. Today's episode is a director, but not any director. A very famous. I wouldn't even call it horror. I would call it like whimsical, mystical, fantasy horror, offbeat director guy.
Keep going.
This is
How many other words can you throw in there?
Sir Guillermo del Toro. Is that how you say his name?
Guillermo
Del Toro.
Oh my God. Could you imagine?
My name's Guillermo. Guillermo del Toro. Guys, he is, I personally love a lot of his stuff, but I don't know if I've seen everything that he's done. And I know his filmography is not huge, right?
I'm sure.
Long.
I'm sure I haven't seen everything. I am a fan of his, but I'm sure there's stuff I haven't seen. Yeah, this suggestion was actually sent in to us by one of our listeners. So thank you for sending that in to us.
Oh yeah, we've gotten this request. And I know the first thing that we thought about was like, oh yeah, man, we love that director. But now I'm wondering, do I love him or do I just think I love him? And then I will find out on this.
Is this another Brad Pitt situation?
Yeah, is this a Brad Pitt situation? So right now, Ash in front of her has a little bit of a bio about Gil Carmelo or...
Oh, you remember that I do a bio. Usually you're like, she's got the filmography in front of her. I'm
So
like, no, don't.
Tell us about this fantastic director.
Okay, Guillermo.
Guillermo.
Guillermo del Toro was born October 9th, 1964 in Guadalajara, Mexico. Raised by his Catholic grandmother, Del Toro developed an interest in filmmaking in his early teens. Later, he learned about makeup and effects from the legendary Dick Smith and worked on making his own short films. At the age of 21, Del Toro executive produced his first feature, Donna Herlinda and Her Son.
What was it? 21?
At 21.
21.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, you said he's 64? So
Born in 64, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So he's going to be 60 years old
Yeah.
in a couple of years, in a year and a half? Damn. I didn't know he was that old. Did you know that, Amanda?
No, but I knew he was older. I didn't know.
Now when I
how
look at
old he
him,
was.
when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, dude, he looks grandpa now. He looks like Grandpa
he looks
Del Toro.
Grandpa.
Dude, you look grandpa, bro.
Oh my God. The problem is, okay, I know you guys don't watch it, but the problem is now when I hear the name Guillermo, all I think about is this show called What We Do in the Shadows. And they have he's like their servant. His name's Guillermo. And they're always just like, Guillermo, like yelling for him. And that's like all I hear anymore.
Well, I mean, I was a fan of this guy from a couple movies about 15 years ago. So I'm curious about before and after that.
And then I think I think we're gonna. Now I don't know how this is gonna go exactly, but we might have to kind of delve into also what he's produced.
Yeah, because I feel like there's a lot of his, when you see it, it's like the same thing when Steven Spielberg produces something, it has that Spielberg feel.
Tim Burton's the same.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
sometimes
right.
when they produce something, it's like still their thing, but they just aren't directing it.
Right, which means they're like literally in bed with the director chatting about scenes and direction and that type of stuff. They just don't get the title. Right. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
so do your thing. What you
Okay.
got? What's
so
your
we'll start with directing credits, and then we'll
Okay.
kind
I
of
like it.
skip back to producer and
I
see
like
what
it.
else we can find.
Perfect.
So his first dated credit is in 1986. It was Doña Lupe.
Oh, also, if people don't know, he speaks Spanish, right? Mainly.
He's from Mexico.
Mexico, not
If you
Spain.
listen to the bio.
I didn't.
Yeah, dude, you introduced the
figures.
bio, and then you were like, "I'm not gonna listen."
No, I didn't.
Well, I am his wife.
Yeah.
Fair.
So selective hearing.
Okay,
Accurate
that was,
point.
That,
Oh no, I heard her. I didn't listen. Got it.
So that was 30 minutes long, so it was a short.
Oh, okay. Which most directors start out with some form of either a short film or like a small feature.
Right. And
to
his
get
next
going.
one was a 9-minute piece called Geometria.
From what you can tell, do these look like horror suspense movies? Because that's what he's known for. So
They're a little abstract, so it's kind of hard to tell.
Sure.
The next one, he did 3 episodes of a show called Hora Marcada.
Okay. So started his directing for TV
Yeah.
first. Oh, okay.
There were 71 episodes of the show. He did 3 of them.
Okay.
So-
Got it. Check.
Then his first feature-length film was Kronos.
For some reason, I knew that, but I don't think I've seen it.
Okay.
Kronos.
Okay.
What year was Kronos?
That was in 1993.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's 30 years. So he's got a lot from this point until modern.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. If you kind of think about it with makeup, like I feel like that takes a long time to hone those skills. So
Oh,
unlike
sure.
actors where you can kind of jump in when you're a kid and kind of get better like in the field, I feel like since he started with a makeup background, he probably took a while to get to the directing.
Well, that's what's
You
cool
know?
about his stuff is that he's known for the character designs and the world he creates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like when you think of directors, you like most people when you watch something like I don't know Die Hard or whatever. Okay? When that movie is being directed, it's not like the director's behind the camera catching all the cinematography shots and he didn't storyboard everything, you know? And so like I do wonder for Guillermo del Toro, like how often was he behind the clay creating those creatures and then directing them, or did other people bring that stuff to life? So I don't know.
That's
I don't know.
fair.
I mean, I assume he would be kind of more hands-on since that's his
Style,
area of
yeah.
expertise.
Because you
Like-
know it's his. When you see it, you're like, dude,
Right.
that's definitely his.
Right.
Yeah.
So his next one was called Mimic.
Mimic. Like with Mira Sorvino Mimic or a different one?
Oh, let me see. Yeah, Mira Sorvino.
Wow, he directed that?
Yeah.
Dude, I had no idea because that's
I've ne-
actually it's have you never seen that, Amanda?
No. What?
So Mimic is really cool. So it's this creature, like a moth-like creature, but it is able to transform itself to look like humans. So what it does is it like grabs the shape of a human and then like kind of holds itself in the shadows. So you just think like a person's just standing there, kind of creepy. You walk past them in the shadows or whatever. But Mira Sorvino is, I don't know if she's a detective or what, but she's going around trying to figure out who's killing these people.
She's an
right?
entomologist.
Oh, entomologist. That's
so
right.
she created an insect to kill cockroaches,
There you go.
but it turned on
Interesting.
her. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I need
Now
to
the-
rewatch it.
Now
but,
the
yeah.
insects are out to destroy their only predator.
Well, that's I mean, and it's cool. Mimic, I remember it has some really cool scenes in it. I did not know he directed that. That makes me happy because I remember
All right.
enjoying that film. Cool.
I'll watch it.
Cool.
All right. All right.
So the next one he did was The Devil's Backbone.
That's familiar to me. I don't know how, but it's
Is
familiar.
it traditional horror movie or another, kind of offbeat?
I don't know. I can read the synopsis if you
Yeah,
like.
just do that one.
Yeah.
No.
After Carlos, a 12-year-old whose father has died in the Spanish Civil War, arrives at an ominous boys' orphanage, he discovers the school is haunted and has many dark secrets which he must uncover.
Okay, that's very Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah.
Like a boy in a hospital.
Oh yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah.
He didn't direct La Lorna, right? I'm not trying to jump ahead, but did he direct La Lorna?
I don't think so.
Okay.
No.
Never mind then.
We're going to say no.
Okay.
After that, he did Blade 2.
Oh, banger, babe.
Wait,
Oh
he
my
directed
God.
Blade 2?
Yes.
Why did?
Yeah.
For some reason, I didn't remember this guy's filmography at all. Guillermo del Toro.
I knew that one.
Yeah, really?
I knew that one.
He legit and Blade 2 was like one of the best in the series, right? Or was it not? Was it the other way around where it wasn't good?
I mean,
forget.
I think the first one's the best one.
Yeah. Okay.
But this is the one where I think it was Steven Dorff. Maybe not Steven Dorff, but there's a guy who's like trying to resurrect like this creature, and it like he has to team up with like the vampires to take him down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think it's
All
the
right.
one. No, it's not. I was thinking of Blade Trinity.
But I mean, but still, from a box office standpoint and like Hollywood, that was a big movie at the time.
So who directed the first one?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Sometimes there's these weird no-name directors that get the first dibs at a frickin' movie and then you never hear from them again. It's very strange.
I'm going to find out.
Look it up.
Blade.
But I mean, Wesley Snipes, that was frickin', he was at the peak of his career while those Blade movies were coming out. So Guillermo, like, he's working with some top talent already, and he had only done, 2 films before that? Like feature-length Hollywood films?
Well, yeah, I mean, he was not a well-known American director at this point.
No, not at all.
Like,
Go ahead, Ash.
The first one was directed by Stephen Norrington.
Like I said, so some directors, you have no idea who the F they are. They just come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's keep it going, because I know everybody that's still listening, all 40 of you.
Okay, next one.
Yes.
Hellboy.
Oh, there you go.
oh, shit, son.
Oh, she's done. What year is that? I already forget.
2004.
Early
Okay.
2000s.
Yeah.
No, dude. I mean, I've talked about this on multiple episodes. I love that movie so much. I'm a huge Hellboy
Yeah.
fan, like, of the comics. And I think that is one of the best comic book adaptations on film.
Yeah, I will say 100%, especially visually.
Yeah, visually, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, Ron Perlman, you cannot, like, that was such a good choice.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can't,
right.
you can't unsee it.
No. And he's such a good fit for the character. Like, Hellboy has that kind of, like, brash but kind of snarky attitude. And
Yeah.
that's Ron Perlman in everything he does.
This is true. Yes, this is true.
Like,
So Ron
Go
Perlman was
ahead.
also in Blade 2.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Which maybe that's where they built the relationship to get him on board. But Amanda, tell me if you agree with me or not, but this was like this hit Guillermo del Toro's aesthetic style of makeup for characters.
100%.
Yeah.
So-
yeah.
One of the things I like the most about his movies in general is he seems like, I don't know him personally, but he seems like, I know that's
I
shocking.
thought you did.
He seems like he tries to use practical effects as much as possible.
Right. Yep. I
and
love that.
I like that. Like, so for me, Hellboy had a ton of practical effects. Obviously, there was stuff that had to be, computer graphics. Like, that's life. But it seems like he always tries to do as much practical as possible. And we'll talk about this in other movies that'll come up. But,
Yeah.
Hellboy, they had, especially the first Hellboy, they had a ton of stuff that you might think is computer generated, but it wasn't.
Right.
Like Ron
Right.
Perlman was in that full Hellboy costume the whole time.
And it looks, I mean, I remember it looked good. Like it was really good costume and makeup for him.
Well, and same with like Doug Jones, who played Abe Sapien.
yeah,
like,
that was
Love Abe
cool.
Sapien.
He's in that fish costume the whole time.
Right.
And Doug Jones, I mean, he would be an all day street cred episode because he's done so much stuff. But like Guillermo del Toro works with certain actors like regularly.
Right.
And Ron Perlman is one of them, but Doug Jones is also one of them.
Nice.
But I think it's partially because Doug Jones, his body, he's so thin
Yeah.
and he's so tall that he can wear all these crazy costumes.
It's like sometimes like only one actor can play that certain role. This same thing, like Kane Hodder is known as Jason, dude. Like his body frame, his style, the way he walks. So I get it, because in Guillermo del Toro, probably once he trusts you, you're his guy. It's like Tim Burton. Like when he, you find the people you like.
No, I think the first Hellboy's great. I wish, my only criticism is I wish it got more love. Like, I wish people still talked about it.
I would say I enjoy the entire film, except I wasn't a fan of Selma Blair. That was me, though.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like, some of the interpersonal stuff that they have just wasn't really necessary.
Right.
But it is, they have, like, an on-again, off-again thing in the comics, but it's not as, like, high school romance.
In the comics, does she not have any type of different look? She's just a lady that has fire.
She's like alternative looking, yeah.
Oh, okay, got it. Okay, cool.
But yeah.
All right, what's up on the next one?
Next, he did Pan's Labyrinth.
I mean that
banger.
Arguably
Mitch
his
McConnell.
most famous piece when it comes to like the stamp of Guillermo del Toro,
I feel like
right?
that's what he's known for. Like if you were
Yeah.
to say name a good Guillermo del Toro movie, you'd instantly go to Pan's Labyrinth.
Because it's original story.
It's
it wasn't an
iconic.
adaptation, right?
I don't know.
Okay, but I mean, cool. Like little girl. You might have to synopsis it because I'm gonna say it all wrong. But
Well, it's a fairy tale. Like,
yeah, right.
It's a little girl and she finds like a magical land and she gives up her own life to go be a part of that.
What's
Like,
crazy though is it's a fairy tale that's pretty fucking freaky, right?
very
like
bleak.
Like but no, I just mean like the aesthetic of the movie. Like there's some creepy scene, like nightmarish stuff if you were to watch it as a kid. So it's a
Yeah.
unique take on that fairy tale.
Well, and it's such an interesting movie where you have the real life aspects. It's during a war, and it's like her
Right.
father or her stepfather or something is horrible, like
Right.
true evil, like real evil human being.
Yeah.
And you watch him like beat someone to death. And you're like, oh my God. And then she goes to this magical other place, which has horrors of its own.
Yeah.
But
right.
they're a completely different type. And
right.
it's wild. This movie is wild.
It is. I would have to say, and I speak for all of us, I'm assuming highly recommend that anybody watches it. Now it is in Spanish. So if
It's
you're
subtitled.
somebody that hates
sorry,
that, I like to watch stuff more subtitled than dubbed. So
It's a
because
beautiful
dubbed
movie.
can turn into like a really hokey experience sometimes.
Yeah, I'd rather just listen to the different language and then read the subtitles.
Right.
It's beautiful. I saw that movie in the movie theater, like when it first came out.
I think I did too.
And the costuming is incredible. Like
Mm-hmm.
again, Doug Jones, it played the fawn, and that costume is beautiful. Like it's scary, but it's beautiful. And then the blind man, the scene that everybody knows, like where he puts his hands on his eyeballs, like
Right.
that is straight out of
iconic.
straight out of a horror movie. Like and no, it's beautiful, and that's one that I've rewatched multiple times just because it's just beautiful. And no, I think you guys are right that that's one that he's recognized for, and I think it's deserved.
I don't know why, but when you said the fawn, I instantly thought of James McAvoy. And I was like,
Tumnus.
wait, he's not in there.
Mr. Tumnus.
But I have to agree. And if you guys have not seen Pan's Labyrinth, put it down on your October films to like watch. I feel like that one
100%.
Yeah.
really well. If you love
There's-
the fantastical, the whimsical, but if you also love, like Amanda was talking about, practical effects of like freaky creatures is really awesome.
I feel like
There's-
Pan's Labyrinth set the bar high for him. And I think people expected more of the same following this.
Sure.
So when I go on to the next few films, I think we'll see why people may have been surprised at how he steered.
Is it easy to get
Oh my God, that guy.
disappointed, you think? Like,
We'll discuss it.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
fair enough. But yeah, man, the costume design.
But I'm just saying, I think he set the bar really high for himself on that one.
I mean, you know, he directed it, and when he walked out of that one, and every director probably comes back and they're like, God, I could have done so many other things. I would have loved to do this instead. But like, as an audience member, I was like, this film is unprecedented in my eyes. So, no pun intended.
This guy.
Okay, enough about Pan's Labyrinth. I think we've talked a lot about it. What do we got next that may disappoint, as you said?
Well, for Hellboy 2 is next.
Okay, it wasn't bad. It was still it was still Perlman.
I'm not going to say that this is going to disappoint because it's
Right.
still in line with Hellboy, which he did before Pan's Labyrinth. So I feel like this is excluded from what I was commenting on.
Well, and as
but
a sequel, it's like you knew what you're getting into. It's Ron Perlman. You got Abe Sapiens back again, and like so, you kind of have all of these same characters that you liked in the first one anyway. So, but I know I like the first one better than the second one. I don't know about you, Amanda. How you feel?
I think that movie gets a lot of unnecessary hate. I'm not saying I think it's the best one. The first Hellboy movie, I have watched it an insane amount of times, and I will continue to watch it. But I think Hellboy 2 is really good. I think that if you're a fan of the series, of the story, it hits everything you need it to. Basically, they still give you the same characters, but then they expand on it.
Right.
And, going into more like magical lore and stuff, I thought was really interesting. And then this story was a bigger story, so they had to use more computer generated graphics on this one.
Right. Sure.
Which I wasn't super a fan of, but there were still huge practical set pieces, and there was still a ton of stuff. There's a character who's basically like a being made of like vapor, and he's awesome, and you could tell that's a real person in a suit. And then there's like another scene later where they have to bring Hellboy to like a medicine man kind of thing.
Yeah.
And there's like a troll kind of creature, and then again, Doug Jones is in this huge like winged, like almost Reaper kind of costume, and it like the costume itself must have needed supports, but you don't see any of that.
Right.
It's beautiful, and everything is so like attention to detail is impeccable on his movies, and I really like that one. I don't think it's the better of the two, but I think it has some really cool parts. And I think that if you like the first one, it's absolutely worth watching if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, these characters in Hellboy 2 definitely take a nod to the Pan's Labyrinth style, though. So, like, in the first Hellboy, like, you don't get as much of that, right? Because the monsters he's fighting don't have that same kind of feel as much. But in the second one, you definitely feel that. He's got no eyes, like Doug Jones' character in the second one. It's like this kind of the same style with, like, a fanning crown over him and then the wings that Amanda was talking about.
Yeah, very similar. But, like, the main bad guy, like they look more like humans, and he's like this prince, and he wants to like basically take over, and he the sword fighting and stuff. The fighting in the movie is very well done, and he basically awakens the Golden Army, and in an attempt to like basically take over the world.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, it's really well done. The visuals are great.
That's what Amanda's talking about, Ash. Do you remember him from the Golden Army?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure I saw it once.
Kind of been one.
I liked
when
it.
was when was that film? What was the year?
That was in 2008.
Guys, when was the writer's strike, Amanda? Do you remember what year?
It was around then.
Right?
I was gonna say, I think, yeah.
So the writer's strike caused a lot of stuff. If you guys aren't familiar with the writer's strike, we've talked about it a couple times on this episode, but basically right around 2007-ish, there was a writer's strike, and literally all of the quality writers for TV and film pieced out. Like they went on strike. They're like, we're not doing this anymore. So they literally brought in a bunch of like rookie, amateur, straight off the street, maybe have done like one teleplay back in the day, and started to have them write for all of these scripts and that type of stuff too. And I do wonder if that has a play in a lot of the features and TV of that time. And I don't know if maybe Guillermo del Toro was part of it, but if you imagine if around 2007 it happened, that's right when the film probably would have had its script finished. And everybody always thinks it's one writer. No, there's like 10 writers like on a film. They do different scenes and different parts. So if you think the story's not as strong, it could be because of the script, because of the screenplay. So just FYI.
I think that's fair. I mean,
Yeah.
like during that time,
Yeah.
I mean, there was a ton of TV shows that had started that got totally screwed because there was no writing for it. There was nobody to write.
Heroes legit. Like that's the
Pushing-
one thing I think about.
I think of Pushing Daisies.
Yeah.
That show was incredible, and it was just unfortunately the victim of no good writers.
Right.
So it just
And
got no
like,
support.
get screwed. I think Prison Break, that happened to them too. I don't know. I think it was season 4 that they were on when it happened, and it was just, everything just goes down. But back to Guillermo.
Okay. Next he did Pacific Rim.
Okay. I like that
Dang,
movie, but
hold
I
on a
also
second.
love what?
What's the years? What's the
This
year on
was
that?
a 5-year gap.
Oh, so he took a break.
Interesting.
Maybe
2013.
Hellboy was like, "Brum, brum, brum," and then, and he was
Well,
like, I don't know if I can do this anymore.
There's another movie in there that maybe he directed it or helped write it or something, but
Or produced
there's another
it.
movie that I thought he directed. Mm-hmm. So I'm
So
curious.
maybe we'll go back
So,
through the producer credits and see if that's what you were thinking. Maybe.
Yeah, maybe he was just like working on other stuff.
Yeah.
No, dude, I think Pacific Rim is good. Like,
I love
It's
Pacific
not-
Rim. It's friggin'
I just
robots
don't-
versus kaiju, like
just don't think it's
giant
what people
monsters.
expected.
It's literally okay. So Japan back in the day had a huge culture of the Godzilla movies, and it was just like monsters destroying the cities, and it's literally that for American audiences again. But this time, there's cool, huge robots that we create to fight them, and it's so fun. I think it was super fun.
I thought it was fun. I from the trailer, I remember thinking like, it's just gonna be like a summer blockbuster. Looks like a fun ride, and that's what it was. It wasn't
Yeah.
the greatest movie I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
But you get to watch these giant rock'em sock'em robots punch monsters in the face,
I mean,
and that's
come
all
on.
people want.
I think for that, some people, I mean, I don't know, when there was a culture shift at some point where people were like, we want deeper stories and we want to be connected to our characters. F that, dude. Just punch a monster in the face with a giant robot. I agree. I 100% agree. But I think popcorn flicks are okay every now and again. And even though, like, Guillermo del Toro's were like, dude, I like creating creatures. So guess what? This gives me an opportunity to create these kaiju, which are
Well, and
just
that's-
monsters. Like,
I remember thinking like, why was he picked for that? Like, I remember
it's
kind of
an
being
interesting
like,
director,
what an
you mean?
odd. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I just kind of remember being like, okay, he's kind of shown like he's got a slightly different vibe, and So, I was surprised that he wasn't given a different franchise, but to then see Pacific Rim, it was like, okay, well, maybe, he wants to, they are like, you make weird creatures, make some monsters. And maybe that's what it was, or I don't know, but if just looking at that film, I would not think it was the same director as Pan's Labyrinth.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at some of the monsters now, the kaiju, and they've got a little bit of Guillermo del Toro like style. Like if you look at some of the creatures and stuff too, you're like, okay, I can see how like that could be his film. Because it's funny because the robots that they created are a lot smaller than the creatures they fight too. So he's doing these gigantic beasts, which he did in Hellboy as well, right? Like some larger. Like monsters. I mean, they're not skyscraper tall, but kind of that style. So maybe that's why, because they were like, well, he did Hellboy and he kind of like was able to make some of these fun creatures and monsters. Maybe he could do that for like a bigger.
I think it just crosses over into like the sci-fi genre, which
he's good at.
Well, no, I mean, I guess when I think sci-fi, I don't think of like
Ash thinks everything Star Trek and
Star
Wars.
I don't think of his previous stuff. Like I don't think of Pan's Labyrinth or Hellboy as sci-fi.
No, I mean they're a lot more fantasy driven. And, I guess, but
and more like horror-y, like a darker feeling. Like I haven't seen Pacific Rim, so I guess I can't speak to it, but it doesn't. I don't look at it and go, that looks like a really grim monster movie.
No, it's like action.
It's not.
It's definitely action.
I mean, it's called Pacific Rim. Like,
yeah, maybe not even suspense. It's definitely full on monster.
It's an action. It's an action
movie. Yeah.
Yeah, not what I would expect.
Okay.
Then he did an episode of The Simpsons.
I think that's wonderful.
He created Pacific Rim Jaeger pilot Oculus Rift experience.
Oh, I know after they did that, they were bringing a lot of directors to get people into VR.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, right.
Next, he did a video game.
Which
called
one?
PT.
Oh, it never came out.
That's called playable trailer, baby.
It never came out.
Okay.
He was working on it.
If you go listen to our top scariest video games episode from like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
So PT was a playable trailer for a new Silent Hill game that he was directing.
Got it.
It was supposed to have, I think, Norman Reedus or something in it.
Yeah, it was Norman Reedus.
Supposedly just the trailer is like horrifically scary, and you can see YouTube videos of like people playing it.
Yeah,
you can't get it anymore.
Right. It was like a beta or something like that. Yeah.
And so I guess like it freaked so many people out, and changes at the studio stopped production of the game. But I have heard rumblings that I think they're going to try and do it again. But
well, yeah, because it had so much it has so much underground fandom.
Gamers still talk about PT.
Has a 9.3 on IMDb.
Yeah, and it's a demo.
Yeah.
Like it's not, and what's crazy is so if you guys aren't familiar with it in this game, you're walking around Silent Hill, Resident Evil style, but this freaking creepy, eerie witch lady, she's like an apparition, follows you around. And what's crazy is that they pulled the camera back. Somebody like deconstructed the coding. She follows you around. She's behind you the entire time and you don't know it. And so once you turn around, then she's there. But that's how they coded her, is that she just follows your character behind, and then you'll turn around and she just follows behind you. So you never know she's there. But every now and then you'll get glimpses of her. And that's what creeps people out, is that like she was literally like breathing down your neck the entire time.
That gives me the shivers.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Honestly, like going and watching a YouTube video of someone playing the trailer, I know it sounds stupid, but it's so cool.
It's very cool. It looked like a great game. I wish it would have been released, but like Amanda said, with the rumblings, they're bound to come back.
There's always rumblings of them like finishing the game, whatever.
Right.
If anything, like they could sell a playable trailer
Yeah.
and just leave it at that.
I think that at the end of the day, he would be a great video game director.
Absolutely.
Especially for that horror suspense genre. I think he would do awesome. So what year are we at? Because I feel like he had this break, this gap. He did a bunch of other media projects.
2014.
Okay. Got it.
Next, he did 2 episodes of a show called The Strain.
I don't know that show.
It was on FX. It was basically like Outbreak. You know, these people are infected.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
it's like a vampire zombie kind of thing.
Oh, got it. Okay. Gotcha.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
All right. Then he did Crimson Peak.
Oh, God.
We were so excited for him to come out
Yeah.
with another horror film.
Yeah.
We all went and saw it.
And so disappointed.
It was by far my worst. I would put it, if I had like a top 10 worst disappointments in movies ever, that would definitely be in the top 10. Because I expected so much from that film. And it is literally like shitty Phantom of the Opera, incest, weird ass film.
And I feel like the whole time you're waiting
know.
for it to get better. And
Yeah.
at the end, you're just like, what?
Because isn't it like 1900s or like
Yeah, it's like Victorian. kind of.
Victorian
yeah.
era, and it's like, dude, the ghost stuff is really dumb, and the creature stuff is dumb, and the story's weird, and like the acting feels really off, almost like he just forgot how to direct all of a sudden. And so it was a flop. It was a big flop. I remember it hit the theaters. Nobody freaking watched it. The revenue on that was dog shit. So I don't even know what to say. I feel bad because Guillermo del Toro is not a bad director, but he made a bad movie. So
So I have rewatched it.
yeah. Do you think it hits better second run?
Sorta. It's not.
Because
it's
now
not,
you're prepared for the sad hand job.
Yeah. It's like it's not better.
Messed up. Yeah.
But I think I was better able to like absorb some of it because I
Okay.
wasn't trying to figure it out the whole time.
Sure, I understand that. Maybe it's better. Yeah.
I enjoyed the visuals a lot more, just like the house that's like falling apart around them.
Sure,
like,
and I
these
think those
big set
graphics
pieces
looked
and
good.
stuff.
Yeah.
I think
I
that was what
enjoyed-
kind of drew you when you saw the trailer too.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I liked all that stuff. That stuff still works. And you're able to kind of like appreciate the story a little bit more because I'm not like trying to figure it out before they tell me.
Yeah.
But okay, so it's basically Tom Hiddleston and his weirdo incest sister are basically having him marry women so he can get basically their money, and then they kill them.
Right.
And now, like, basically, so you have these ghosts, and the ghosts are incredible looking. And when they show up, it does work. Like,
Yeah.
it is, because the whole movie is like a slow build of tension.
Right.
And so when these ghosts do show up, it is very much like, oh shit, because they're scary looking.
Yeah.
And, at the end, it turns out that they were the soul of, the previous woman or, one of the women he killed. And that works in a way, right? Because you're like, oh, sure, they're trying to protect her from the same thing happening. But then instead of that just being like how the story ends with like revenge, it's like he dies, but then it's he really loved her all along. And you're like, what? Like, the end doesn't work because you're like, you want them to get their comeuppance because they're shitty. And then what ends up happening
Right.
is they get their comeuppance, but then it's like, oh, he loved her all along. And you're like, no. Like,
Wasn't
it just
this
doesn't.
Was this the girl that was Alice in Wonderland as well? Or something
yeah,
like
I think
that?
so. Yeah.
So I know they like tried to bring her in. It's funny. I mean, they tried to market the movie because they're like the director that did Pan's Labyrinth, which is like, dude, he did more movies like after that too. Like, so, and everyone's like, okay, let's go in. It's going to be really cool. The trailer looked awesome. And I think the problem is that though the story on paper might have looked good and the visuals were there. The execution was just poor on getting that delivery.
I think it would have worked better as a shorter story.
The movie's long, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like a 2-hour movie. I think if it had been like, I hate to say this, but like, Grindhouse, like, you know how Grindhouse was like 2 stories in one length of movie.
Right.
I think if they had done some kind of like tales of horror, like a thing where there's 2 or 3 stories in one movie, I think that would have played better. But yeah, a full length movie, hell nah.
Yeah, you're right on the ghost though being very cool in the film. Like there wasn't anything wrong with that side of it. I think it was all the Tom Hiddleston / I forget the other lady's name. Yeah. But like that character relationship, that was hard to accept and root for, and you know.
Well, and his character was just odd.
Yeah.
Like
it was.
His character wasn't likable.
Ash, do you remember any of these characters from this?
No, I haven't seen it since the theater.
Maybe we should watch it again. Maybe we're going way too harsh on it, but
I know you bought it, so we need to rewatch it.
Yeah, we can rewatch it again. But anyway, this is what 2015-ish, 2016-ish,
2015, yeah.
And I mean, at this point, I almost swore him off after that. Though I remember I was like, I guess.
Well, I mean, because
he finally he hit a rough one.
Pan's Labyrinth was 9 years prior to that,
right?
So you're like, cool, a horror film, Guillermo del Toro. This is going to be amazing,
right?
And then you're disappointed. And you're like, yeah.
Oh man,
is he done?
Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't his happening, but it was definitely one that was like, he's on the downturn, isn't he?
Okay, so his next one is The Shape of Water.
Okay, I have to admit, I don't think I've seen that.
I don't think you saw it. This was 2 years later. It won 4 Oscars.
Right.
Did you see it, Amanda?
Yeah. It also, one of the Oscars I think it won was Best Director.
Yeah. I watched it after it won, and I was expecting it to be fantastic.
Yeah.
And I was sorely disappointed.
I think I'm more frustrated. What was it? So it's literally Abe Sapien all over again, right?
It's a similar creature.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even similar, guys. It looks exactly
Doug
freaking
Jones.
like him. Yeah, but I mean, it looks it like for the most part. I'm like,
looks,
dude, that's
it looks like Abe Sapien's cousin.
That's regurgitated Abe Sapien. So I remember when I saw that, I was like, this doesn't look original to me. This is same old, same old. So I think I almost skipped it if I've only seen a couple freaking minutes of it. So
as far as I remember, because I mean, it's been a while since I've seen it, but basically she works in a facility where they have this creature in captivity and they're trying to keep it there. And she ends up watching over him and ends up like basically falling in love with this creature.
Right.
Right. That's a short story.
Yeah. Academy Award winning Best Picture.
My issue with it was it had weird like cut scenes, like fantastical cut scenes where she's just like getting all imaginative and stuff, but it just ended up being weird.
Like the scenes didn't hit for you, or it was like off-putting almost watching it.
It wasn't, I don't think off-putting is the right word.
Okay.
It's just like you're watching this love story and then I'm just like, what am I watching now?
Interesting. What did you think about it, Amanda?
I thought it was like interesting, but yeah, I kept being like, all right, so the lady's in love with Abe Sapien. Okay, let's keep moving. Like,
also, she doesn't talk, right?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
I think she doesn't talk.
I think the movie as a whole does not have a ton of dialogue.
I need to look that up because.
But I remember thinking like. I remember thinking, okay, this is just like an it's just like a forbidden love story.
Interspecies relationship.
Yeah, like I just remember being like, okay, he's a fish, man. Like,
It sucks because this type of stuff
the Little
happens
Mermaid.
to these movies that win the Academy Award. So, what was the Korean film that won recently?
Parasite.
Okay, Parasite. Everybody said Parasite's amazing. It is one of the best films you will ever see ever. I watched it, and Ash and I both watched it, and after we were done, we looked at each other. We were like, okay.
Yeah, we did not like that movie.
We were like,
It was a very slow burn.
But I also found moments in it that I found entertaining, but I find that in a lot of different movies. So for me, the whole best picture push, sometimes the oddity wins over the actual creative content.
Yeah.
So I think that's just it, is maybe The Shape of Water was just odd enough in a slew of movies it was against that made it original.
Yeah. And I am correct in that the main character in The Shape of Water was a mute.
Oh, okay.
She didn't speak.
Got it.
So take lack of dialogue plus weird drawn out scenes where she's imaginatively in love with some bizarre creature.
Right.
Which I understand, like, they had a connection because she couldn't speak and he was in captivity. They kind of felt like they were both, like, they could relate. I don't know. I wanted to love it.
I feel like we need to work on an essay about why this film won Best Picture, but okay, but we'll give it that. So Guillermo del Toro's back on top, right? You can't have Best Picture and not...
It's still beautiful to see. That's what he does, right?
Be a sought-after director. Yeah, I mean, the film's probably still gorgeous, right? I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen it all the way through, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
Next, he did 4 episodes of Troll Hunters, Tales of Arcadia.
God, I love that. It's so good.
Honestly, it's not a bad show.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll have to give it a go.
We watched it. My nephew was like at my parents' house, something like that, and he was like, "Let's watch Troll Hunters," and I was like, "I don't want to watch this shit." And then we were watching it, and I was like, "All right, this ain't that bad."
You're like, all right, Walmart.
Well, yeah, all right, Walmart. And the first season has Anton Yelchin as like one of the main characters, and
R.I.P.
It's honestly like not bad.
All right, I'll one of these days when I got nothing to do, I'll pop it on.
It's
It's
Netflix.
8.4.
It's a TV. It's a Netflix show. Like
Okay.
it's not bad at all.
So, sorry, what year was that?
2016 through 2018.
Oh, okay, so a couple years working on the TV show. Got it.
And then after that, he did Three Below, Tales of Arcadia.
Oh, like another...
Yeah, another Netflix one. Did you
Okay.
see that one, Amanda?
I did not. I didn't know that there was another one.
Well, there is Three Below.
I'll have to watch it.
Okay.
Okay, he did 2 episodes of that. I don't know if I said that. And then his last one, he did a movie called Nightmare Alley.
I haven't watched it yet. I want to.
I watched it.
And?
It's good.
It is.
It's good.
What's the... Talk to us, because Amanda and I, we haven't seen it.
It's basically about a guy who, he's kind of just wandering through a town. He's kind of like just takes odd jobs, whatever. He doesn't really have a job.
Okay.
And he stumbles through like a circus where they have like circus freaks and stuff like that. And he gets kind of enveloped in it. He gets a job there. They offer him a position, whatever. And then he makes friends with, God, now I'm forgetting what like a medium.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But of course he's not really a medium. He's, it's a sideshow. It's a
Right,
trick.
sure,
right.
sure.
So he kind of learns it. And the power kind of starts to turn where this guy who was just coming in off the streets basically starts to get the control and the power and then eventually takes over that role. I don't want to go too far into it because I don't
Sure.
want to like spoil it because it is a newer movie.
But does it scream Guillermo del Toro from direction and
So it's very
design?
There's not a lot of there's no creatures,
Okay,
right? There's no
sure.
like fantasy but it's like a dark feeling in like the 20s.
Okay.
Maybe earlier than that. I don't know. I'm not good with time frames.
Sure.
But yeah, it's cool. It's
Well,
worth watch.
the pictures and the trailers and stuff very much gave it like a film noir kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
It's one that's on my list. It looks good.
Main character is Bradley Cooper.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I would watch it.
And that's his last film?
That's his last one. Let me see if he has anything.
His last film directing.
Yeah.
Right? So I know we're kind of I know we're kind of getting to the end of our episode here, but can you kind of do a quick producer run through?
First of all, what's coming next? Pinocchio.
Oh, Pinocchio. Wait, the new one on Disney?
Oh, he did Pinocchio?
Pinocchio.
Literally the one that's coming out on September 9th or 11th? Sorry to date it. I messed up.
December 9th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, December 9th. Wait,
December
the
9th.
one with Tom Hanks. That's Guillermo del Toro? Or is this a totally different one? Because Pinocchio's coming out on Disney Plus.
Yeah. I don't know when.
No, it is
It's
Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Oh, dude. So that might be cooler.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
That might be way cooler.
Interesting.
Okay. I'll give it a go.
Okay, so let me skip over to
Okay.
producer.
Love it.
Wow, way more producing credits.
I know. You might have
Okay,
to.
Amanda, what were you thinking of? Let's just start there.
The Orphanage.
Oh, The Orphanage. I think that was produced by him.
It was produced
Because I
by
think it
him.
was Guillermo del Toro
Yeah,
Presents.
it was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
so
Presents.
basically The Orphanage The Orphanage is one of my favorite
Yeah.
like scary horror
I
movies
agree.
ever.
I agree.
There's not like an overabundance of dialogue, but yeah, it's subtitled. But it's the story about a woman and her son goes missing, and this is all taking place where at the orphanage that she used to live in as a child.
Right.
And it's incredible. It is
Yeah.
such a good slow burn, but it pays off as the movie goes on.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good, and it's such a good tension builder, but it isn't like jump scare the movie. It's not
Sure.
like
Yeah.
it's not like The Haunting in Connecticut. Like it's not that those are bad, but it's very much its own genre. The Orphanage is so good. I've seen that movie a million times. It's so good, and every time, I'm not gonna spoil this one, so consider yourselves lucky if you've never seen it. I'm not gonna spoil it because I think it's worth watching. The end gets you every time.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember that too. Yeah. Yeah.
it's tragic, but it's good, and
Yeah.
it's such an incredible movie.
I will
Yeah,
I will say that if
I agree.
anyone doesn't like watching movies with subtitles, like Amanda said, there's not a lot of dialogue. So I think that really helps because you kind of like stay in the movie.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like you're able to kind
yeah.
of watch it without having to look at those subtitles.
Well, and Amanda described it as a slow burn, but the suspense is there almost the whole time
Yes.
too. So,
Yeah.
Yes.
like even though it's maybe slow moving, you're still like a little tense about things
Yeah.
most of the time. So, I 100% agree with that. And I don't know if it was produced or just presented by, like you said.
He was the executive producer.
Oh, he was. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he gave all the money to it, which means he probably had a lot of say.
And then I know he has been involved in a lot of different things. I know he was involved in, it's not Coco, but it's the one that looks just like Coco.
Oh,
Came out like a year or two before.
yeah, I know what you're
The
talking
Book of
about.
Life.
The Book of Life.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That one's pretty good.
There's
It's not
actually
like-
a lot on this list. There's a lot more on this list than you would think.
That he produced.
Yeah.
Give us some
I'll
give us
just-
some standouts
I'll
that
just
you
give
see.
you some.
Well, there's
see.
one more that I'm surprised Andy hasn't brought up yet. But
He was
I'll get
producer
there.
of Mama.
Oh.
Dude, Mama's one of my favorite horror films. I freaking
Mama's
love that
good.
one. And it's really creepy. Anytime a kid is like, I'm talking to my friend over there. And then it's like nobody. And then you find out that it's this creepy freaking monster. It's awesome. I love it. Mama.
Rise of the Guardians.
Oh, okay. That's actually that's okay.
Puss in Boots. Don't Be Afraid of the Dark.
Okay.
Megamind.
Okay.
Megamind.
Nice. That's awesome.
I love that
Yeah.
movie.
That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So he's done some producing over some popular stuff, which,
Well,
to
I
be
know
honest,
he's written a lot too.
Oh, okay.
also, Andy.
What?
Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Yeah.
That was the one. So that was the
See-
one that you hadn't brought up yet that I knew.
Well,
he
and
had
I
done.
love Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, like all the stories and the books. And if you guys have never read that stuff, you need to freaking read the
yeah.
Scary Stories. It's a 3-part series back in what, guys, the 90s? Is that when the books dropped?
Yeah.
Back
and they're
from the
all
90s.
these short form stories about like horror stuff. I mean, it like there's a toe in my stew, like weird, fun, but creepy. And like, they brought it to the screen, and I feel if you grew up with it, you loved it. But if not, you may be a little lost watching the film and being kind of like, why is this so weird?
I grew up with the stories, but I don't necessarily recall like individual stories.
Yeah,
I know
right.
there's some that you bring up regularly, so like I'm familiar with those.
There's some on there that
but-
you guys will remember as kids, like I'm the window viper.
Yeah.
You know, like
I come to wash and wipe your windows.
I thought the movie was good. I thought
Yeah.
they melded it together really well.
yeah, it was fun. It was fun. I had a good time with it. So, number one, thank you so much to our listener for the suggestion on Guillermo del Toro. If you guys enjoy us doing directors, there's so many that we can jump on. I know normally our street cred is dedicated to actors and actresses, but at this point, I think it does bring up creative talent and something unique to the platform for the media. And so being a director and going through more directors could be entertaining. So if you guys want us to do that, throw out some more suggestions of who you want us to do. Dong. Christopher Nolan.
See, I want to do Quentin Tarantino, but Ashley doesn't want to do Quentin Tarantino.
Maybe I'll go on vacation and you guys can do
Hey, Andy got Brad Pitt, okay?
Yeah, dude, I tried Brad Pitt
That's
thinking
fair.
like, honestly, anybody's listening probably would also be like, oh yeah, Brad Pitt. Well, that wouldn't be a bad one. Terrible. He's one of those actors that you think he's done a bunch of stuff and then he really hasn't.
So go listen to it and tell us if you agree.
Yes, please tell us if you agree.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Or
Guys,
don't.
thank you so much for listening to this episode of Street Cred. Amanda, if people want to come and tell us such things as and such, where can they do that?
Come hang out with us over on Instagram at Real Awkward Podcast. You can send us an idea for a street cred. This is how you have to do it. You have to write down who you think we should do on a piece of paper, take a picture of that, and then send it to us at our Instagram.
Oh, yes.
That's how it works.
And hopefully you guys are having a wonderful season. I'm a vampire.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
All right, guys. We will catch you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye-bye.
If you're blue and you don't know where to go to, why don't you go where fashion sits?
Hurry!